New military toxic exposure legislation that could provide expanded health care and disability benefits to millions of veterans is headed to the White House after Congress this week finalized plans for one of the largest veterans policy measures in years. The promise to address Comprehensive Toxics Act, better known as the PACT Act, is expected to help more than 3.5 million veterans. It's a massive bill, totaling $300 billion over 10 years, and affecting troops who served near burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan, near Agent Orange spraying in Vietnam, and near radioactive sites throughout the globe. The measure was passed in both the House and Senate by strong bipartisan votes, following months of work by veterans groups to get the bill over the line. Officials and advocates of the legislation celebrate it following the Senate vote, saying the bill will help save family finances and veterans' lives after it's signed into law.
15 years ago, when I was appointed to the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, I had a Vietnam veteran come up to me and say, "You're not going to treat this generation of veterans like you treated us." This bill rights that.
Final passage came after Senate Republicans initially blocked the measure, prompting a furious back and forth between advocates and GOP members over funding mechanisms in the bill.
Finally, this Senate is going to pass the most significant expansion of veteran health care benefits in generations. This is a very good day, a long-awaited day, a day that should have happened long ago.
The Senate blockade also pushed veterans advocates to stage an around-the-clock protest on the Capitol steps for 6 days to force lawmakers to move ahead. Advocates at that vigil said the passage of the act was crucial for the veterans community.
This should have been done June 16th. This should have been done June 16th 5 years ago.
President Joe Biden hailed the bill's passage as great news for veterans.
Finally, we're going to do justice to those who we lost, as well as those who are still suffering from being exposed to the burn pits. It's about time.
VA Secretary Dennis McDonough said his department is already at work putting the new provisions in place and letting veterans know how they can access their benefits. The burn pit provisions of the PACT Act have received the most attention in recent months, in part because of the visibility of those injuries. Tens of thousands of veterans from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have developed rare respiratory conditions and cancers in the years following their deployments, believed caused by the poisonous smoke from massive burn pits used to dispose of a host of military waste. Now, under the bill, veterans who served in those war zones would be granted presumptive benefit status for 23 respiratory illnesses and rare cancers believed linked to the toxic smoke. That would speed up disability payouts to those individuals, potentially awarding them up to several $1,000s a month. Veterans who served in the recent wars would also be given 5 more years of medical care coverage under VA, regardless of their health status. Veterans from older generations would also see new support under the measure. For example, many who served in the Vietnam War already have presumptive status for a host of illnesses linked to exposure to the chemical defoliant Agent Orange, but the PACT Act would add even more, including new disability payouts for high blood pressure. And the bill would codify recent changes in how the Department of Veterans Affairs approaches a host of military toxic exposure claims, lowering standards for proof and offering presumptive status for some rare illnesses believed linked to them. Advocates for years have lamented burdensome procedures to get VA to recognize their service-connected illnesses. Now they are celebrating what they hope is a revamped and improved system for dealing with those lingering wounds of war.